All right, we're back with more cooking videos, okay? Today, we're gonna go with some stuffed peppers. Of course, we're going with bison, right? Which can easily be replaced with your ground beef and other shit that we're gonna put together and show you guys. But typically what I would do with any type of stuffed pepper recipe, which is something that, you know, we might use honestly as maybe a little bit of like an added free meal. You can make it fit your macros easily. Maybe it's a meal that you wanna make at home with the kids and the family. So this is something that could probably span a little bit further than just considering it meal prep. In fact, this is probably a little bit more invasive, I guess. Invasive? A little bit more like all-encompassing than maybe just doing a meal prep. You could make it quick if you kind of break it down and get used to it and do it over and over and over again. It could be a pretty quick thing to make, which we'll show you here. But the bottom line is, I would probably look at this as more of a meal that I want to sit down and kind of enjoy and make all at once, as opposed to kind of like a meal prep meal. You know what I mean? But again, it all comes back to, you know, how somebody wants to spend their time as far as the way they're prepping their meals. And tracking their macros and whatnot. So again, we got bison. What I would typically use with this is an onion, and we would dice an onion. But again, we're at the delinquent's place here as far as Riley is concerned. He doesn't have any onions, which is, it's embarrassing. That's like a normal household thing that you would typically have is onions. Who doesn't have a fucking drawer in their fridge that just has onions? You know, it's true. Onions are not on his plan. Fair enough, touche. But there's no garlic on his plan either, but yet he's got this fucking thing of garlic that's the size of Dale's head.
Costco hooks it up.
So we would typically do an onion that I would chop up and start to saute, and then I would throw in some garlic, right, to be able to soften those up, and then I would almost immediately hit it because you don't want to burn that garlic. You don't want to burn those onions, so I would almost, let that sit for maybe like whatever, 3 minutes or so, moving it around regularly, the onion and the garlic, and then I would throw in my meat. Today, because we only have minced garlic, and again, I don't want the garlic to burn, I'm gonna throw this in right before I start going with the bison. And again, we don't have onions, so that would just be something that would be missing a little bit. And then as far as seasonings are concerned, that's another thing this jerk-off doesn't have anything of. So he's got like garlic and garlic salt. You don't have any paprika? Oh, he's got paprika. All right. Can you say paprika again? Kids. All right, we got some paprika. You know what, let me handle this. He doesn't have onion powder, which again, I guess he's adverse to onion in some way, shape, or form. Even though we won't do that. We can hit it with a little bit of this guy. No, that's not gonna work. That's not gonna work, guys. It's not gonna work. All right, we're going at this. Listen.
You know, last time you thought he didn't have avocado oil, but then you look.
Hey Dale. We don't need you breaking the third wall, okay? You just run the camera. Let us do the work over here.
What do you need?
I'm looking, Riley. Let me look over here. All right. If I have to stand on my tippy toes to get to that top shelf, I'd like to see you. Where's your stool at? All right, we'll go with some black pepper. It's an easy additive, right? And then I'm deciding on whether I want to go garlic and herb here to throw a little bit more in. So I figured that would have some onion powder in it. You know what? I think I'm going to go this guy, the salt-free, which will be good too because we're using the tahini on top, which is,
You're not going to use my tahini?
No, I'm going to use my tahini. It's just better.
It's the same
No, it's not. I have a man tahini. I want to just, for verification purposes, where's my bag? All right. If you don't travel with your own thing of tahini, that's your problem. This is Riley's tahini. This is Tim's tahini.
Let the record show they're the same tahini. There are different tahines, but
I know, just like Riley and I are both men, but when I'm bigger than Riley, that's the distinguishing factor. That's all. All right, so anyway, with all that being said, let's get going here. Let's get our pot going. Pot pan.
That's peppers.
Guess what's done?
Thanks, Riley. I know, but this one was already off. Let's go with this guy right here. Well, I'm gonna use that in a second.
Oh.
No, I guess I'm not, am I? No.
Cutting on.
All right, we'll throw this back so he doesn't get in trouble by Allie. The place looks festive. We'll let that heat up for a second. Where's your dirtbag spray? Oh, see, that's in front because he's using that instead of the avocado oil.
That's non-stick pan.
You really still don't use spray on that?
No. Not when you cook beef, no. It doesn't stick at all.
Especially with the bison. The bison's gonna render down. It's gonna have its own
Yeah, it's fatty.
fat. But I always give it a little bit of a spray. I like to get my essential fats in, you know what I mean?
It's a power burner. It gets hot really quick.
That's why my beard's nicer than yours. I'm sorry, what'd you call it?
I would say grayer.
Wait, what'd you call it? Did you call it a power burner? Oh, really? It does say power burner.
Yeah,
Shit.
The record show. It does say power burner.
It does.
I don't make things up. Like that?
Yeah, just like Riley's a power bottom. No, that's definitely, you don't cut anything. All right, let's go ahead and let's get this moving here. So what do we use this on? Peppers? I know this is an interesting way of opening this, but I'm trying to cut away from myself. You know what I mean? Last thing I want to do is cut myself on camera here. We'll give that another minute to heat up, and then we'll hit it with a tablespoon. I know where I'm going, bro. All right?
That's the list here.
Yeah.
He's in that third room I think never wanted.
He's been here enough times.
All right, we'll give this a decent tablespoon because we're at Riley's and he doesn't have any onion powder or onion, so we want to give it some flavor somewhere, you know what I mean? All right, so that's good. Like I said, I'm not going to leave this sitting very long here. What about a spatula type deal? Same thing? I guess we'll use this big ass thing, huh? Listen, Dale.
Hold on, before you use that thing.
Oh, too late, too late. Again, I don't want that garlic to burn, so I'm going in relatively quickly here with the bison. And I guess I was saying before that this might not be something you would do as a meal prep meal, but with the way that we're going about it right now, it is going to be relatively quick. So we already pre-roasted the peppers, which you guys saw me take out of the oven there a few minutes ago. So we got that done. That took about 15, 20 minutes to be able to roast those down to something that's a little soft texturally. This is only going to take a few minutes to brown up.
The rice is done in 7 minutes.
Rice was cooked previously as well. So we're getting to that point here where things are coming along pretty quickly, and it could easily be a meal. I guess you could meal prep without thinking too much about it. Oh, let's see here, man. Here we go. We got our can of Rotel, which is just diced tomatoes, and I think there's green peppers in here, right? Maybe?
Yeah, there's...
Yeah, green chili. Green chili.
Something like that. I'm gonna drop out some of this liquid. I don't want to put too much rice. Usually you could put a little, or no, I'm sorry. We don't have tomato paste. That was another ingredient that I would usually use here. So I'd usually put anywhere between like 2 or 3 tablespoons to kind of thicken it up a little bit of tomato paste. We don't have tomato paste. So we're working with what we got. So again, I'm gonna try to drain some of this excess liquid out. Actually, you know what? I'll hit it a little bit harder as far as the drainage is concerned. Try to get a decent bit of it out. And again, you can cook it a little bit longer to reduce things down because we'll still have some of the excess fat that's cooking off of the bison. We'll still have some liquid from this guy. So we'll see how we go about that process. I don't think this... Okay, so we missed a part here.
Got it?
It didn't,
I think it's the can of that.
yeah. Oh. It's not gonna reach it. Got it. God bless. All right, so we got that working for us. I'm gonna give this meat another minute to brown. I thought this was gonna go a little bit quicker because on a power burner, but now again, as far as tracking this from a macro perspective, you guys gotta make sure you're just taking a more logical and an easy approach to that, right? Like if you're tracking these meals that you're cooking all at once, it's becoming too frustrating. It's because you're probably looking at it a little bit too in depth. You're trying to be too perfect, right? Remember, tracking, especially for a lifestyle client, it's more about consistency as opposed to dead on accuracy. If you're a few grams off here and there, it's not going to kill you, right? Especially for the benefit of being able to enjoy a meal that you're truly and honestly going to be able to enjoy. Again, if you're a few grams off of rice or a few grams off from tomatoes, yada, 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 no big deal. That being said, this, I think last time I said it was 500 grams. We just looked on the package. It's 454 grams or something like that exactly. For me to do the math, that's 150 gram serving for 3 servings, right? So that works for me evenly and easily, right? Where I'm gonna have 3 servings of this bison, 150 grams each. Now I'm also gonna put in, I think I said 150 grams of rice. Was that what I said? I did the math already. I think I said 150 grams of rice, which again, you know, goes evenly into this for 3 servings for 50 grams of rice. And we want the rice in there because it acts a little bit as a binder, right? To be able to help keep everything kind of together, so to speak. And then this for 3 servings, right? Or this for an entire container is 60 calories. And an entire container is only 2.5 servings. So again, this is gonna be something where you could easily do the math on this. 283 grams, divide that by 3 for me.
283?
Yeah. Just so I can give you guys a little bit of a 94.3. So we would call it 95. You know what I mean? So I'm going to use 95 grams of this, 150 grams of the bison, 50 grams of rice, and then half a pepper. You know? So, and again, even if you look at these peppers, like at the end of the day, you know, just I could eyeball this, and I'll tell you right now, this is probably somewhere closer to like 150 grams. Boom. And obviously you could weigh this all out beforehand. To make it nice and easy, his scale's probably got all types of fucking bacteria. I'm probably gonna get a parasite right now. 103 grams. So if I would have put this at 150 grams in my tracker, like I said I was, right? At the end of the day, I'm gonna be a little over. And again, I'm not gonna freak out because 50 grams of a pepper is what? Fucking 6 calories or some shit? Like, it doesn't matter at the end of the day being a little over on an ingredient like a pepper. So again, and honestly, at the end of the day, I'd rather come up over than under with those things. So again, this is a pretty easy thing to add in. I'm not gonna sweat that side of it. And now we'll season this beef with everything, including our tomatoes. We're gonna hit it with a good amount of paprika because I said so. And it's gonna give it a nice color. And obviously you could change the seasoning up however you want. I like a lot of paprika. Like I said, I like it from a taste perspective and from the color that it gives it. I'm gonna go with a little bit of this garlic and herb. And again, I've never used this before, but obviously we know the ingredients that are in here pretty well. Garlic, spices and herbs, including oregano, parsley, rosemary, basil, red pepper, orange peel, which probably isn't in stuffed peppers very often, onion, more paprika and celery. That'll probably fit in pretty well without noticing it too much. A little bit of black pepper. And again, I'm gonna hold off on the salt because I'm going to use some heavy amounts of tahini later on. Obscene amounts of tahini is where I typically go with things. Now we're gonna take this down as far as the flame is concerned. And I'm gonna mix this up and I'm gonna have it sit for a minute, even though there's not a lot of excess in this one, right? We don't have a lot of liquid that we're dealing with, so we don't need things to firm up too much. But I am gonna let this sit for a minute on low with a lid to soften up and kind of get the texture that I like. Riley, do you have any lemon juice? No. Okay, see? Fucking guy, man. So I might even add a little bit of liquid to this. If you want to come over here with the camera, I might want it to have a little bit more liquid before I throw the lid in and start to simmer. So I might hit this with a little bit of lemon juice just to give it a little bit more liquid, because again, as it sits there, it's going to reduce a little bit. We're gonna lose some of that liquid. So again, the lemon juice might add a nice flavor, but then also give us the liquid that we need to let it sit here for a minute. Letting it sit here for a minute and simmer is going to give it a nice soft texture to it. All right. So I guess we'll be back in like couple minutes after this rice is done and we'll show you what the final product looks like. All right, so we've been simmering for a few minutes. Our rice is done cooking now. So we're gonna go ahead and you could see that, well, I don't know if you could have seen that or not because we just got up close and personal with it now, but it's been simmering for a few. We got it up to a nice simmer. Texture starting to come around to where we want it. So I'm gonna go ahead and throw in some of this rice. I'm gonna go with 150 grams of rice. So you see I zeroed this out, and we're gonna pull from this until it's 150 grams less, or negative. So that's 97 grams. That's 124. And that's 156, which is good enough for us. We'll incorporate this, put the lid back on, let it sit for a few minutes. Again, let the rice soak some of that up, and then we'll be ready to throw this on top of our peppers and have Dale, as a non-biased non-biased
Taste tester.
bystander, have a go.
A civilian.
That's do my civil duties.
So this is what it's going to look like once the rice is fully incorporated. You can see it's already starting to get a little bit thicker. If we did have some of that tomato paste I'd want in here, we'd have an even like a deeper color red to it. It would be a little bit more together, so to speak. But ultimately, this is going to work just fine. I mean, it's just going on top of peppers, and you guys will see the finished product and how it's going to work out. But we'll let this sit for another few minutes, and then we'll bring it back. All right, so we just took the top off here, and you can see this is thickened up pretty well. All right, it's incorporated. It's all kind of coming together here. The meat's going to be nice and soft. Texturally, it's going to be nice and soft. You can see that little bit of drip is still there, so there's still some there that you can see. You see that's the fat coming from the beef or the bison there. But this is going to be perfect. All right, so we're going to go ahead. We're going to take this off the heat. All right, I'm going to lay this down. And I just want you guys to see exactly how I would go about pulling out a meal here. Right, because I know that's usually everybody's question. Is like, well, how do you divvy it up? How do you macro track it? Yada yada yada. If you really want to get crazy and you really want to be specific because you're a type A that wants to get this shit right, take this entire thing, okay, put it into a big container and weigh it. Right, so take this, grab that big ass measuring cup that we got, put it on the scale, and then weigh the entire thing out. And let's say this entire thing comes to whatever, I'm just making up numbers here, but 500 grams. Now you can start to pull away from that. And again, you would take 150 grams and have those 3 servings from that 500 gram lot that we had. Does that make sense? You understand what I'm saying? But I'm just going to divvy this up by eye. The deal for me is I know I'm going to eat this. This is 3 servings for me. I'm going to eat this, maybe even all in one day. So for me, I'm literally just looking to take a third of this now, a third of it later, and a third of it in a final meal. So for me, if I'm eating all of this, right, especially in the same day, let alone maybe even a couple days, right, at the end of the day, it's not that big of a deal. I mean, I know the calories. I have the calories logged pretty proficiently. Like, it's not going to make that big of a difference in the grand scheme of things. And again, even if I'm off by a certain percentage, you're going to be off because, again, maybe I pull a little bit more for this meal, a little bit less for the next meal because I'm doing it by eye instead of measuring it. My point behind that is it's not that big of a deal. I am eating all of it. Right, I'm logging the total amount of it over the course of a couple days, so it's all accounted for in some way, shape, or form, right? So again, I'm just going to take a third of this here. Actually, it's probably a little bit less than a third, so just because this bowl is weird. So I'm going to take this lot here, right? And I'm going to leave these 2 for other meals. All right, so let's get busy here.
Let's get physical.
That we're cutting out. You know what, Riley? You have a different spoon of some sort? This is going to get everywhere.
I have a serving spoon.
Actually, you know what? Hold on. Maybe we don't need to dirty another dish. This is just for presentation purposes anyway, right? Actually, I should have brought Tupperware. I didn't bring Tupperware this time for me to bring all my food home.
Damn.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you, you'll probably never get it back, but
That's why I'm gonna give you disposable.
I honestly still have Riley's shaker cup from what was the first show?
My first show in 2022.
No,
Oh.
this year.
Muscle Beach.
Yeah, from July. I still have and I did wash it. It's actually sitting in my pantry waiting for me to bring it to you, and I just never remember to bring it to you. It's a brand new shaker cup too.
I got it. I got it for that show.
Well, I don't think you're ever gonna get it.
I threw it in the dishwasher. It came out. It's been sitting in the pantry ever since. Why the pantry? I don't know. All right, that's it. That's about a serving. So you can see I have about, 2/3 of it left, which I'll easily throw into other meals without, too much worry or concern about getting it too right. But this is going to come out perfect. Let's have Dale taste test it now. Wait. Everybody chill out. I got you. Look, we're gonna take the man version. This is an essential part. You can't have this without this. This is an essential part, okay? And don't put it on while you're cooking it. Wait until after, because this has the, it's got a little bit of pop to it when you have it raw. If you cook with it, you're gonna lose that little bit of extra pop, all right? I'll tell you, it's gonna come out nice and citrusy. Whoa. Don't, okay? I don't want you to inundate Dale with your, okay? And have you generate some sort of additionally, a review that doesn't exist. Look, I'm sprinkling on the plate on purpose to give it a little bit of demure. All right?
English.
All right, yeah, it looks like dog food, but it's gonna taste delicious, I promise. Let's have Dale taste test.
Dog food?
A little bit. If we had like some fresh parsley, I know that's kind of like an old school trick, but like maybe even some fresh tomatoes diced up and thrown on there, it would look a little bit better, but who the cares about presentation here, right? We're about being bigger than Riley. So let's take a second here, we'll let Dale try it and we'll go from there. All right, go ahead, grab a couple pieces, enjoy yourself. Oh man, well you can't take it all off, Dale. I mean, for fuck's sake, can you get it all in one bite?
It fucking fell apart.
Got a little bit of crunch to it, I can hear that snap. Peppers probably need to be roasted a little bit more, but that's Riley's fault.
I like that's how I like my pepper.
Yeah?
1 to 10.
8-3.
What are you tasting there? What are you getting out of it?
So I taste the peppers first, and then obviously taste the meat, and then I get the kick of the taki shit, whatever you put on
Tahini?
it.
Yeah, the tahini.
And it's not overkilling, but it gives it a good
Like citrusy.
citrusy like. You taste the pepper first, and you taste
Needs a little bit more salt though.
a little more.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go 8-3.
The tahini, remember, that's the one thing you didn't see. When I was cooking it, I opted for that salt-free garlic and herb because I knew I was gonna put the tahini on first. If you're gonna do that, understand the tahini's pretty salty in and of itself. And again, I do like a decent bit of tahini in all seriousness. So in a lot of cases, I'll opt not to salt my food, put the tahini on top, and that's plenty of salt for me. But I think in this particular case, with the amount of meat that we have here, you probably need to salt it just a little bit to give it that regular base level seasoning, and then put a little bit of tahini on top. But it definitely did come out pretty good. It's got that kick to it. It's pretty good.
Tasty, yeah.